one game apiece. We all know tomorrow, October 31st, is Halloween. It's also the end of the month and the NFL trade deadline. The Ravens big-time buyers at this point last season when they landed Roquan Smith for a second and fifth and completely changed their defense. So are they going to be in the market before tomorrow's 4 p.m. deadline halfway through the season? They are 6-2 at the top of the AFC North. All AFC division leaders are 6-2. Have the Ravens been perfect? No. But were they in one game? Absolutely, against the Lions. And that's the ceiling they will continue to chase each week. Running back seems to be an area linked to the Ravens for trade deadline movement to get another 1-2 punch with Gus Edwards. If it happens, great, but John Harbaugh is good if they roll 9 more games with their current roster.
I love our guys. I think we have everything we need to be successful. At the same time, if an opportunity came to bring in somebody that can help us and make us better in any area, really, but certain areas more than others, of course, and you could do it in a way that was affordable to the team and the club, cap-wise, draft pick-wise, those kind of things, you would do it. You would do it to try to get better.
Defensively, probably not necessary for the Ravens. John Harbaugh added today players are expected to return off the IR like corner Pepe Williams and linebacker Malik Ham. They're close. And Tyus Bowser is now optimistic he could play this season.
Morgan, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, the trial for Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby begins this week. What we've learned from a final pretrial hearing. And hundreds of miles of tunnels under a war zone, how Israel is trying to target Hamas and recover hostages.
Nine children hurt this morning in eastern Maryland after their school bus tips over on its side in a crash, what investigators believe led to that crash. Former Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby in court today as her federal trial is set to get underway this week. What you can expect to happen in court.
Is it too late to rein in the risks of artificial intelligence? The White House says no. I'm Atrell Nishar with the details of a sweeping executive order on AI safety.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
1 month after 4 federal charges were leveled against Marilyn Mosby, the former city state's attorney, appearing in court today on the eve of jury selection. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Bubala. Kai has the latest developments from the alert desk for us. Kai?
Mary, the former city state's attorney didn't say anything as she left the Greenbelt federal court today. Mosby, who is being represented by a federal public defender, was at a pretrial hearing. The case is being tried in Greenbelt, Prince George's County, after she fought for a change of venue. Her 4 charges will be split into 2. She'll stand trial first on the 2 counts of perjury, and then she'll be tried on 2 counts of mortgage fraud. 19 witnesses are expected to testify over 3 days. Jury selection begins tomorrow. Ms. Mosby was charged last year for allegedly lying about taking a financial hit during the pandemic. She then tapped into her city's retirement account without penalty, and prosecutors say she used the money to purchase 2 vacation homes in Florida. They accuse her of lying on her mortgage applications to get lower interest rates. She faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted on the 4 charges. Fox 45 News will follow the trial. You can get the latest here and online at foxbaltimore.com. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Well, continuing coverage tonight after the FBI last week raided a Safe Streets location in the homes of 2 of its employees. Sources tell Fox 45 News it was over alleged gang affiliation. Mackenzie Frost with what this means for Mayor Scott.
Mayor Brennan Scott has not faced questions publicly after the FBI raided a Safe Streets location last week. He's only offered a written statement. Today, we wanted to ask him in person. When is he going to be more transparent with the public about what's going on inside the Safe Streets program? Days after the news broke about an FBI raid here at the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets site, Mayor Brennan Scott staying mostly quiet, only issuing a statement pledging cooperation with federal partners. The Safe Streets site managed by LifeBridge Health, and LifeBridge confirming 3 employees are on leave in wake of the federal probe. Monday, we asked LifeBridge when were the employees placed on leave? Is that leave paid? Are all 3 employees from the Bel Air Edison location? How long will that leave last? Will LifeBridge commit to releasing the names of these employees? When did LifeBridge first find out about the federal investigation? LifeBridge telling Fox 45 News the names of the 3 employees who do work at the location will not be released, and it's unclear how long they'll be placed on leave. Now, Fox 45 News obtaining this search warrant for David Caldwell, who is the supervisor for the Bel Air Edison Safe Streets site. The search warrant revealing a magazine with 9 live rounds was seized, along with drug packaging materials from Caldwell's home. During a news conference Monday morning, Mayor Scott leaving the event early, preventing us from asking any questions about the looming federal investigation. So we sent him a few questions asking, when will you release the names of the employees who are currently under investigation? Will you release the names of all Safe Streets employees? If not, what is there to hide? Based on his comment he made to me in July,
I think the public should trust and know, just like they trust our police officers, that these lifesavers are out there doing their work.
I also asked the mayor, why should the community trust the program now given this federal investigation? Mayor Scott telling us via statement, this situation does not negate our responsibility to appropriately handle personnel information of individuals who were not direct city government employees. Remember, the mayor has routinely said the names of the employees should be kept secret, citing safety concerns. Those questions come after we sent him questions last week asking about this probe, and again the mayor evading direct answers. Meanwhile,
very concerned and extremely troubling.
City Council President Nick Mosby facing questions about Safe Streets and what he wants to see done with the program moving forward.
Do you think that there needs to be more transparency from the city about who these employees are, not just at this location, but at all of them, given what we're learning from the federal government about the possibility of illegal activity?
Well, you know, personnel matters happen.
Does the city have an obligation to be more transparent with the public?
I think it's probably a better ask of the organization.
The council president not saying whether all of the names of the Safe Streets workers should be revealed, despite taxpayers funding the program.
Good morning.
One thing Mosby is clear about, he does not see an issue with the Board of Estimates, the city spending board that he chairs, approving $3.6 million in state funding Wednesday for Safe Streets. While the mayor continues to evade questions about this federal probe, we're committed to demanding answers, especially as we learn more about this FBI investigation into the city's flagship gun violence prevention program. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Many unanswered questions about how the Safe Streets program works, including how employees are hired and tracked and how Safe Streets spends taxpayer dollars. All of that raises red flags for many experts who say the program and Monzi as a whole really need to be audited.
Public information such as what we're talking about is public under Maryland law. And when you redact these things, it is arguably a violation of the law on its face in the state of Maryland. So they need to have radical transparency, forensic audits. We need to be able to follow the money and, quite frankly, the elites, those large organizations like LifeBridge, which runs that center that was raided today, or Catholic Charities that run other centers on the Safe Streets program. Those elite organizations, why are they taking taxpayer money? Look, Catholic Charities got $143 million of gross revenue in the latest year available. The CEO of LifeBridge Health made $2.3 million, and 5 executives made over $750,000 in the latest year available. Why do they need taxpayer help? They should lighten the load on the local taxpayer. They should pitch in on their noble charitable mission.
And that brings us to our question of the day. Do you think Mayor Scott is being transparent about the Safe Streets program? So far, 98% of people who voted say no. You can make your voice heard right now at foxbaltimore.com/vote. Well, here's a look at today's top trending stories. Number one, a school bus crash in eastern Maryland earlier today. It happened in Easton in Talbot County. We understand 9 children and the bus driver were taken to the hospital when the bus turned on its side. Police have not revealed the extent of the injury. State police say it appears the passenger vehicle involved failed to stop at a stop sign leading to the collision. The driver was also taken to the hospital. Number two, Howard County Executive Calvin Ball considering running for Congress. Last week, Representative John Sarbanes announced after 18 years in Congress, he won't run for re-election next year. On Fox 45 Morning News today, we asked Calvin Ball about his intentions.
There are whispers right now that you are considering a run for Congress. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I'm definitely thinking about it. I want to make sure that I make a decision finishing up my term as county executive or launching a bid as a Congress member. Where can I make the greatest impact for our community, and where is the greatest need right now?
Ball says a final decision should come late November. Number three, new design plans unveiled today for Harbor Place. Right now, the Pratt Street and Light Street pavilions do not appear to be part of that plan. They're going to take them down. The plan calls for a new residential tower, new promenades, and reimagined open space for people visiting the area.
What we did hear universally was that people wanted to love Harbor Place again. We think by making it an active, 24-hour environment with residents and entertainment and food, we'll be able to activate this place, fill it up with people, feed on the streets, and that's our best path forward for making people feel safe.
The redeveloped area of the Inner Harbor is expected to be a $1 billion investment. You can find more information and look at some of those drawings more closely at foxbaltimore.com. Well, the FDA warning consumers to avoid a number of eye drops, the products they say can do harm to your vision.
I'm Christine Frizzau in Washington. As Israeli troops prepare for urban warfare, we take a look at how the vast array of underground tunnels plays a role in the calculation for what's next.
And the big chill gets set up just in time for Halloween trick-or-treating, falling from the 50s back into and through the 40s as you're trick-or-treating. Could even have some wind chills closer to the 30s. I'm going to let you know how long the cold's going to last and when we could have our next weather maker with rain. My Weather Authority forecast.
Back now with the Fox 45 Quad Box. The FDA warning consumers to beware of 26 over-the-counter eye drops. The agency says these products pose the risk of infection that could result in partial vision loss or blindness. The products are sold at CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and other stores. Most of the stores are taking them off store shelves. We have a list, so you can take a look at it at foxbaltimore.com. Well, after 6 weeks, General Motors and the United Auto Workers Union have reached a tentative agreement. Details are unknown right now. The UAW reached a tentative deal with Ford and Stellantis within the last week. And a federal judge orders the Biden administration to stop removing razor wire at the Texas-Mexico border. The state sued, saying the government is destroying state property. A hearing will take place next week. A death investigation continues after actor Matthew Perry was found dead over the weekend. The body of the 54-year-old was found Saturday at his home in Los Angeles. Perry is well known for playing Chandler, of course, on Friends. Last year, he wrote a memoir saying he hopes to be remembered for supporting others with substance abuse issues. Israel's war with Hamas is extending far beyond the border of the Middle East. Over the weekend in Russia, hundreds of protesters charged an airport. Reports say the protesters were on the hunt for passengers arriving on a flight from Tel Aviv. And here at home, an investigation underway after a series of anti-Semitic threats were made online against Cornell University's Jewish community. In response, President Biden today announcing some new federal help with colleges to respond and investigate such incidents. The executive director of the Baltimore Jewish Council, Howard Libet, weighed in earlier.
The statements in support of the Jewish community need to be clear, direct, forceful, and supportive. And we need the college leaderships to show up when we have vigils in support of Jewish students. They need to ensure there's adequate security.
Well, here's the latest from the Middle East. Israeli forces continue to bombard the Gaza Strip as the next phase of the fighting moves into a ground offensive. More than 230 people remain hostages in Gaza, including Americans. Since Hamas launched the deadly attack earlier this month, 1,400 people have died in Israel. In Gaza, more than 8,000 Palestinians have died, including 3,000 children. Well, national correspondent Christine Frizzau joins us live now. Christine, you're looking into these vast system of tunnels that Hamas has had and what this means for the war at this stage.
That's right, Marian. What it means is if and when Israeli forces enter Gaza on a larger scale on the ground, they'll be dealing with Hamas fighters who know this underground tunnel system backwards and forwards. Now, these tunnels are typically 6.5 feet tall, just 3 feet wide, a nearly impossible backdrop for a battlefield. It is a battlefield unlike any other, and also perhaps Hamas's most essential weapon in this war.
This tunnel network is how weapons move freely through Gaza.
The Israeli Defense Forces releasing videos like this.
This tunnel network is where Hamas leaders plan and orchestrate attacks against Israel. Destroying Hamas means destroying this tunnel network.
One Hamas official telling Russia Today TV, "We built the tunnels because we have no other way to protect ourselves from being targeted and killed." Another form of protection, keeping hostages in those tunnels alongside Hamas fighters, as described by one Israeli hostage released last week.
There are a huge network of tunnels underneath. It looks like a spider web.
Largely underneath the 25-mile stretch of land known as Gaza, between Israel and Egypt. The IDF declaring Hamas headquarters are located beneath the Shifa Hospital in Gaza City.
Not only do they hide underneath it, they also abuse the hospital's electricity and fuel supply that should be used for the people of Gaza.
This video, released by Hamas, shows fighters coming in and out of those tunnels into what experts say is a narrow subterranean network that zigzags and is built on multiple levels, which means one-on-one combat with little ability to count on your unit.
You barely can communicate with your unit that's above ground, and so you're alone as a soldier in it, and it is absolutely terrifying and reminiscent of medieval duels, essentially.
And for weeks now, we've seen IDF forces lined up on the border with Gaza with only a handful of ground operations. Experts say one of the main reasons for this is the fears and complexities associated with these tunnels, Mary.
And Christine, what is the danger then for Israeli troops to enter these tunnels, not only for their own safety, but for the safety of the hostages, as we know some have been down there?
Yeah, you know, we've heard Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say that Hamas fighters use civilians as human shields. It's not just people in Gaza. It's also those that they kidnapped, including children as young as 9 months old. We've heard Israel say their chief goal in this operation is to eliminate Hamas, which some military experts say is just really going to be impossible. And one of the reasons here is those hostages being kept underground.
All right, Christine Frizzell reporting from Washington for us tonight. Thank you. Fox 45 is partnering with Magen David Adom for Sinclair Cares Humanitarian Relief for Israel. That organization is a Red Cross affiliate providing emergency medical aid for all people in Israel. To help, you can scan the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
Fox Triplecast this evening showing timing less than optimal for our latest weather maker moving through. Mile on Tascam, Toyota East Inner Harbor Skycam. There are your clouds, and the rain is coming down on the HD radar with that weather maker. Looks like, yeah, it's going to be a wet trip here up and down 95, Brooklyn Park to Linthicum, and then up to Joppatown, Perry Hall, White Marsh. Not thunderstorms necessarily, but we do have some maybe embedded downpours that are going to be involved here all the way back to about Frederick. Then you get into northwestern Carroll County, already beginning to dry out. So that's some good news there. And beyond that, it looks like most of the showers begin to kind of feather out as they move up and over the Appalachians. I think by about midnight, most of this is gone. Look at the snow north up toward Minneapolis. Not going to snow around here, although Wednesday morning could get closer. Could be some lake effect snow showers and flurries that make their way maybe to the extreme northwestern suburbs. So we're going to have to watch out. But outside of that, it's going to be turning a lot colder for Halloween. 59 rain now reported there on the Toyota East Inner Harbor Skycam. It's looking gloomy and wet. 59 after a high of 81 here in Baltimore. Earlier, the rain all the way back to just south and east of Westminster. Look at that cold around Oakland. We're 22 degrees colder than just 24 hours ago. We're already 10 degrees colder than just a day ago here in Baltimore. Then you go west, look at those temperatures all in the 40s, all compliments of our latest weather maker. Strong cold front rolling through, showers, then colder weather coming. Let's plan things out for you as we head through about 9 p.m. The showers begin to dry. I think by about midnight, they're moving south and east. And things look a lot better for trick-or-treating tomorrow, but much colder. High temperatures low to mid-50s, and look at those temperatures falling into the 40s just in time for trick-or-treating tomorrow evening. Now, the winds won't be too bad tomorrow, so that's good news. But I think wind chills by the time it's all said and done here, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow evening, could be as low as potentially the mid to upper 30s. 43 tonight, rain showers and clouds and some sun tomorrow, 54. I'm going to take you all the way through the exclusive 10-day forecast in a couple.
Jonathan, thank you. Is it too late to rein in the risks of artificial intelligence? The White House says no. Next, the sweeping executive order on AI safety. President Biden today issuing a sweeping executive order on artificial intelligence. The White House calls it the most significant action any government in the world has taken on AI. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports.
Of artificial intelligence.
Using his executive authority, President Biden trying to strike a balance between making the United States a leader in artificial intelligence and protecting Americans from its dangers. Companies will now have to notify the government when developing models that could pose a risk to public health, national or economic security, and share findings of safety tests. The executive order also includes a series of actions across the federal government meant to protect Americans' safety, privacy, and civil rights. Two in particular are especially urgent given current geopolitical tensions. Block the creation of dangerous biological material in life science projects by using federal funding to incentivize responsible practices, and create standards for watermarking AI-generated content so viewers can identify deepfakes.
This is one of those areas that the executive order is trying to get out front of the technology a little bit to anticipate how can this be used in a way that really presents a kind of societal harm for most people.
On Tuesday, Vice President Harris heads to the UK for an AI safety summit. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says a top goal is just for countries to agree on the nature of the risks posed by this technology.
Get this wrong, and AI could make it easier to build chemical or biological weapons. Terrorist groups could use AI to spread fear and destruction on an even greater scale.
The EU is much closer than the US to enacting comprehensive legislation.
The EU has a much more nimbler system to create policy.
In Congress, both parties agree on the need to pass legislation that has stronger enforcement mechanisms than an executive order, and fast.
There's no way to put this genie in the bottle. Globally, it's exploding.
More than 60 AI-related bills have been introduced